creators, Ben here from Citterblock Studios, and I'm back today with sort of a little semi-unboxing, somewhat first impressions demo of this sample set, signature colors from Williamsburg handmade oils. Now Williamsburg is sort of owned and distributed by Golden Artist Colors, so there's a certain level of quality and standard that's going to come with them. These, in the first place, even before Golden ended up buying the brand, were already a very well established brand of high quality oil paints. Now, you guys know me, I'm an acrylic painter, so it's like, okay, why did you buy some oil paints? And I've also, over the years, really detested how much I hate oil paints. But over the past about year and a half, I've been finding uses for oil paints that are rather non-standard, which is sort of the thing with me and any other type of material other than my regular acrylics, is that I'm grabbing them for mixed media purposes and to use them for slightly different applications than they tend to be intended. Usually a lot of, currently actually using them for underpainting. A lot of people that use oils along with acrylics will do an acrylic underpainting and then use oils over top, but I kind of reversed that a little bit. So this has actually been on my long-term list for a while of things to pick up. And this is very simply just basically a sample set of colors. So I have down here a piece of watercolor paper, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of demoing with these. Not a ton, I just kind of want to see what they do, because I haven't really touched them much yet. So this came in the mail in a box, looked just like this, little section over top holding that together. And then the top came off, and then I had this. Actually, there was a piece of plastic around this section, keeping everything in, sort of together, but the plastic was just on the bottom section, not on the top, and the only thing holding the top on was that little top cover. The only other difference there between that and this little book was shoved underneath these tubes. Other than that, this is pretty much what I was greeted with. Now, this little book gives you a nice little, history of the thing. This is what else all of our products are, things like that. And then when I opened this up, this is something that I've actually been looking for a nice quick reference for a very long time. And that is their complete color list, and they list what they call the series, and then there's the grind. Now, one thing that makes, at least as far as I'm concerned, Williamsburg a little bit more distinctive is that they don't necessarily grind down their pigments all the same way depending on the tube. Some of them they leave actually a little bit coarser to give you a much thicker, even somewhat grittier texture on some of their paints. And I actually have a couple of Williamsburg tubes already. I have the domestic yellow ochre and the transparent red iron oxide that I've been using for various projects over the past 6 months or so. And I don't actually know if they say what they are on here, coarse or whatever. I don't think they do. They just kind of list transparent here and opaque here. I don't think it actually tells me what it is, so I got to actually have a look at these colors. So I was like, okay, I want to find and maybe try and get what they call the medium or the coarse textured ones. And I was lucky enough to see that two of the colors in this set, I believe they are the Style de Ground and the French Ardoise Gray, that actually are coarser. Actually, the Ardoise looks like it's medium. And then the Style de Ground was, yep, that's the coarse one right here. So I'm really interested to see exactly what that's going to look like. But that probably doesn't make a lot of sense right out of the gate, so we're just going to, take it a little bit at a time here. So yeah, as I mentioned, I had picked up two of the Williamsburg colors already, playing around with them in various projects and things like that. Specifically the transparent red iron oxide, I've been playing with to get a toned canvas in slightly different ways. For example, this is just a big canvas that I put a thin layer of that transparent red iron oxide on, made it kind of nice and a little bit orange. Made for a really nice ground, also for another recent piece of mine. And it gives it the canvas, aside from just the regular acrylic gesso, gives it just almost a slightly greasier undertone to it. And when I was working on the sky, that warmth kind of really showed through, which is really, really nice. So we will play with these colors as well. But I want to get into the actual sample tube set here. Now, as you can probably see, the one that sticks out the most is this big tube of titanium white. This is just a little bit smaller than a standard 2-ounce tube. Actually, these are the same. These are the same as the standard tubes here, but a standard acrylic tube, for example, is 2 ounces and it's just a little bit larger. So you're looking at sort of the same standard tube that you get out of any of their larger ones in the store, and it just happens to be the bigger one, and they give you a big one of white in most sets because you tend to need a big one of white. So the colors right down the list here, Brilliant Yellow Pale, Alizarin Orange, Persian Rose, King's Blue, Corbeil Green, Italian Lemon Ochre, Stille de Grand, and French Ardois Grey. A lot of fancy names in that. And I made sure to check the product video, actually, prior to buying this. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up this set, specifically for these 3 colors in the end. And I learned how to pronounce all those in the product video. One thing you will find that these tubes are considerably smaller, of course, than a standard tube. They're actually the exact same size as another product distributed by Golden, and that's the Core watercolors. In fact, these are probably the exact same tubes. They're just, labeled and colored a little bit differently. So they're, yeah, about the same size as a standard watercolor tube. So you're not getting a lot of paint out of a set like this. They're really just there to kind of give you an idea of what these colors are to see if you'd want to pick them up in the larger tube. So I have, of course, as I mentioned before, a sheet of watercolor paper that I just kind of want to smear some of these down, get a little test run going on with these. I've got a little round brush here, nice and stiff, perfect for oil painting, as well as some odorless mineral spirits. Because we're working with oils here, not acrylics, water's not going to do jack. Okay, so I just realized that since I flipped this box over, we're going to be going in reverse order in terms of color, but I really want to kind of keep that order so you guys can see them up top while I'm working. And actually, since we're here doing that, I'm going to just throw those up there as well, so you know what order I went in for these colors. Okay, so at the back here, we have French Ardois Grey. It's A-R-D-O-I-S-E. I wouldn't have known how to pronounce that unless I heard it. So French Ardois Grey. The tube itself, most of the big tubes actually have a sample of the color all the way around, like you can feel the brush texture here, which is great. These just seem to be sort of like a scan of it. The paint's not actually on there. A little disappointed, but that's alright. What makes this a little disappointing is this brownish color you're seeing here is not actually the color in the tube. What you're getting out of the color of the tube is actually a lot more of a standard, what feels to be a neutral gray. And you will note there's a couple of these tubes actually have some squeeze pressure on them. I did technically sample them a little bit, but not a ton. I didn't touch every color. I just want to have a look at what some of them were like. Yeah, so this grade, in the glaze of it, does seem to have a bit of, I shouldn't have dipped that in that, because now everything's really smooth. Although, does grab a little bit more of this, I see. It does seem that this is definitely more thinner than I thought it would be. Of course, we are talking oils here, so they're going to be a little bit like that anyway. And the mineral spirits just kind of dissolve the paint, so I wasn't really thinking. But yeah, so you have just a nice simple gray. I feel like that's going to be a good mixing gray. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and try and get most of those spirits off of there. In fact, a little pan here. This is some Gamblin Galkid Light, which is an oil medium that promotes drying time, which is, thankfully for someone like me, good. Yeah, that's more of the push I was kind of looking for there. Alright. Because I don't want this sample card to take forever to dry. Alright, we have the Stille de Grand, which is the one color in here that I was looking forward to the most. Whoa, this is really thick stuff. Yeah. Some of these colors feel like clay almost, they're so thick. It's just funny to see that French Ardois being kind of as thin as it was. Yeah, this one is considerably thicker. And you can really see the coarseness and graininess in that color there. What I love about this the most is this glaze, this lighter brown, sort of almost like a sepia tone to that. That's a really Really great color. And now that I'm thinking about it, I did want to have a look at the pigments in here, because I brought up the pigment database in the back. So the French Ardoise Gray is PBK 19, which first thing on the pigment database says Ardoise, sometimes also slate gray. Actually, I'm going to do this one more time, squeeze just a little more of this out. Because now that my brush is more accepted of the gal kit, I want to actually pull this out a little differently. Yeah, no, it is still really kind of smooth and thin. Alright, that's all I needed to see there. The Style de Grain is PY42, which I think is, compared to the, yeah, PY43 is yellow ochre, and I think the Italian lemon ochre is actually the same pigment as the domestic, which I can't quite figure out, but we'll see what that does in a minute. So this is, I think, yellow oxide rather than yellow ochre, which is almost the same color. But yeah, really, really cool. Loving what that's doing. Okay, so we have the Italian lemon ochre versus the domestic lemon ochre. What makes it Italian? I have no idea. Yeah, this is PY43, and so is this one. So technically the same pigment going on here, but we're going to see exactly what makes it so different. It's a little smoother, actually, than this one. I can say that because I've used it before, the domestic. It's very similar. Oh, it's coarser. That's going to be, I think, the biggest difference. Is this is a lot smoother, but although very thick. Yeah, this is a lot smoother of a color. Really good golds in the glaze as well. Okay. Next we have the Corbeil Green, which is a mixed pigment, PR102, PB27, and PY65. I'm going to go have a look at what those are. So this one is red iron oxide, Prussian blue, and some Hansa yellow. Interesting mix for a Corbeil Green. Okay, this one's pretty thick as well. I mean, their oil paints and Williamsburg as a whole makes relatively very thick paints, especially especially for their oils. That's what they are. Williamsburg is oils. Very, very dark. You could almost use this as a black, which is rather fascinating. And that glaze, yeah, that's very, very, very dark. I would absolutely say you can use this in place of black, especially for if you're using even this for like a landscape set or something like that. I think that Corbeil could be a fantastic just general black or dark substitute. Next up we've got King's Blue. King's Blue is PW6, that is titanium white, PB29, which I think is the same one that was in there, which would make it Prussian blue. No, it's not. It's a different one, 29. And PB15, 3, which is cerulean blue. Actually, cerulean chromium, to be specific. But the 29, which is ultramarine, is going to give this, I guess, a little bit redder of a tone than what you might get out of a cerulean. What I found with this, even when I opened up the tube at the very least to look at the colors, this is a very powdery blue. Oh wow, got a little linseed oil separation there. That happens sometimes. Alright. This is a very powdery sky blue, I would say. I think if you're going to be mixing and making a landscape sky, some of this and some of this white are going to be absolutely perfect for that. This also definitely seems a lot more opaque than the past couple of colors we've had. Well, specifically those three. The Corbeil is very, very opaque as well. And with the mineral spirits, you can push that out a little more, but Not a ton. These two are definitely more of your opaque ones. Next up, we have the red that's included in this set, Persian Rose. Much like the blue, this one is not only a mixed pigment color, but also very light. I can see that both in the sample as well as I know when I looked at it. PW6 again, titanium white. PR112, which I believe is a cadmium. It is not. It is another bright red, though. It is naphtha red, so we've got titanium white, naphtha red, PR122. PY154 is benzimidazolone yellow, and PV19 is dioxazine violet or purple. This, actually, they must not be using a lot of the purple either, because this is a very, again, like the blue, very bright, very pastel-y kind of red. But still rather interesting, as all of them have been. This one feels a little bit thicker, at least by comparison to the blue, and also very, very opaque, much like the blue. That just made my mineral spirits look really nasty. And pulling that out, very similar as well. Granted, I'm on watercolor paper, so it's just going to absorb right in. But again, very, very opaque and very similar in that regard. Next up, this one color I'm actually looking forward to testing out considerably, and that's Alizarin Orange. This is a PR 177 and PY83. Give me a minute, gonna look those up as well. This one gives us anthraquinone red and what was it? I've already forgotten. Dial red yellow. So definitely two off the beaten path colors. Ooh, that is a that's a nice orange. Oh, just seeing that mass tone versus glaze out of the tube looks great. I'm gonna have fun with this color. Yeah, this is a lot smoother. This is definitely one of those finer ground pigments. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a satisfying orange. Oh yeah. Pull that out. That's gonna be great. Yeah. Oh, that's a hell of a glaze too. Ooh. Yeah. That is beautiful. I'm sorry. That's oh wow. Yeah, really incredible color there. And then the last one in this set was Brilliant Yellow Pale. Another sort of more pastel color, PW6, that's white, PY175, and PY74. And those are, again, titanium white, benzimidazolone yellow, and this is an ileride yellow versus the diileride yellow, so slightly different. And cooler yellow, I'm thinking about it. The diileride is actually a slightly warmer yellow. And this is a great color, I would say, immediately out of the gate. I'd say that's a great flesh tone mixer. Regardless of what shade or pigmentation you're going for, ethnicity, I guess I should say. There'd be a good mixing color for flesh tones all around. Not that I do flesh tones, but I can already see that it's got that quality to it to use, or even as a alternative to white in order to lighten other colors up. So, yeah, glaze to the base. This is definitely a more opaque color as well. Anything we're adding that titanium white to, so the yellows and the red and the blue is going to be a lot more opaque anyway. And I think the Corbeil had some black pigment in it, or if not, definitely some heavy blues. And I think it had a Prussian in it or something, so that's probably why that one was so dark and thick. So yeah, that's the sample color set. What they call these signature colors. They call them signature colors because the particular mixes are, and even a couple of the single pigment ones are actually exclusive to Williamsburg. So that kind of makes them considerably more interesting, I think. So just because I have them here, and I promised to do so, these are the couple of big tubes I've got. So I've got the domestic yellow ochre, which looks a little bit browner than the Italian lemon ochre, even though it's actually the same pigment. And then I have the Pure 101 transparent red iron oxide. This is the same stuff that's used for either regular iron oxide or Venetian red. And I bought this color mostly for its glaze. I want to try this one yellow ochre over here first. Yeah, a lot more opaque. With definitely a browner glaze, this seems to lean almost more yellow. Again, it's just fascinating what you can do with just two different pigments. And actually two different grinds now that I'm, again, thinking about that. I remember this grind being, I think, a little more than this one. This is supposed to be fine. That one is supposed to be, I'm gonna look this up again. It's supposed to be medium, so slightly coarser, slightly finer. And that's kind of just what you get out of that. And then we have the transparent red iron oxide, just sort of like leathery, but when you pull it out to the glaze, you get just a really nice, great red in the bottom of that. And right now, currently, that's sort of my set of, at least the Williamsburg set of the oil colors. I have a Gamlin, and I also have a Utrecht oil, just for some variety in mixing. I also have the R&F pigment sticks for a more complex color palette. But as far as this particular brand goes, that's kind of what you're looking at, and particularly with the sample set of the signature colors. They have, I think, 3 other different sample sets. If you're interested, there's like landscape, modern, and traditional, I believe, are the other 3. So that's really all about it. I just want to kind of crack these open, get them on some paper, you know, get that mass tone and glaze sort of example going. And just see what these things can do. I mean, I could do an entirely separate video just on mixing them together, seeing what they do, but I will save that for another day. So if you enjoyed this little demo, be sure to subscribe to the channel and see what else I can do with them in the future. If you want to learn about simple painting techniques specifically with acrylics, also, that's why this channel's here. So if you're coming over looking for oil stuff, I don't do oil stuff a ton, but I do dabble with them here and there. If you enjoyed this, though, be sure to hit that like button. Helps the video and the channel out considerably. Take a look at my social pages, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. It's available in the description box below this video. And, as always, this has been from Cinderblock Studios. Thanks for watching, keep on creating, and I'll see you guys next time.